All right, we are on day 3 of ACT Prep, Unit 2, Pre-Algebra 2 topics, and today we're talking about ratio and proportion. All right, ratio and proportion. A ratio can be expressed in 3 ways. You can express it in words, 5/2/6. You can express it as a fraction, 5/6, or you can write it as with a colon in between, which means 5/6. A proportion shows that 2 ratios are equal. If you write the ratios as fractions, the cross products have to be equal. The only way 2 fractions are equivalent is if their cross products are equal. If I multiply 23 times 481, I get 11,063. If I multiply 37 times 299, I get 11,063. Since the cross products are equal, then these 2 fractions form a proportion. Okay? All right, so solving a proportion. If one of the values in the proportion is unknown, cross multiply to solve the proportion, just like we did with the percents yesterday. All right, so it says 2 fractions are equivalent. One of the fractions is 13/15. And the numerator of the second fraction is 156. So we don't know the denominator, but they're saying that these fractions are equivalent. So we formed a proportion. So now to solve it, you're going to do 13 times x, which is 13x, equals 15 times 156, which is 2340. So to get rid of 13, I divide by 13, and I get, the cross products are equal, so divide by 13, and you get x equals 180. Okay? All right. So a builder estimates that she will use 20 bricks to cover 3 square feet of wall. How many square feet can be covered with 2090 bricks? The first thing you do is write a proportion. Okay, you're talking about, they give you the first ratio. They say 20 bricks covers 3 feet. That makes a ratio. Then your other fraction, what you do is your other fraction the words have to match. In other words, since I put bricks on top over here, then bricks has to be on top over here. Since square feet's on the bottom over here, then the square footage has to be over here on the bottom. And they got to give me one of the other one. They gave me 20/3, and then they said how many square feet, that's my question, can be covered with 2090 bricks. Bricks goes on top. So then we cross multiply. I got 20 times x is 20x equals 3 times 2090 is 6270. Then I'm going to divide by 20, and I get x equals 313.5. So 2090 bricks will cover 313.5 square feet. Okay? All right, a 6-foot tall person casts a 8.4-foot shadow. The telephone pole right next to the person casts a 20.3-foot shadow. How tall is the telephone pole? Well, we're going to set this up. We have this ratio. Excuse me. We got the height of the person over the length of the shadow. So, excuse me, I had a sneezing fit. If the height of the object is on top over here, then the height of the object has to be over here. So it says how tall is the telephone pole. That's my I don't know, but it does tell me that the length of the shadow that the pole casts. So there's my proportion. Oh, this is interesting. Again, if you put the shadow over the height of the person, that's fine. But then you'd have to switch this one, and the height of the shadow would have to be over the person too. That's what that says. You set it up however you want. As long as the words match, you can't mess it up. Okay, so when I solve the proportion, I get 6 times 20.3, which is 121.8, equals 8.4 times x is 8.4x. So then to solve it, I'm going to divide by 8.4, and I get 14.5. So the phone pole is 14.5 feet. All right. You try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 60. It says Ed is a baseball player who gets a hit 6 times out of every 20 times at bat. How many hits will Ed expect to get if he is at bat 200 times? Well, I set up my proportion. They give me this ratio. He hits 6 times for every 20 times he's at bat. How many hits, so that's my question, if he's at bat 200 times? So when I cross multiply, I got 6 times 200, which is 1200, equals 20 times x, which is 20x. To solve, I'm going to divide by 20, and I get x equals 60. Okay. Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you get 13.5 gallons. It says in 2 weeks, the Postman family drinks 3 gallons of milk. How many gallons of milk will the Postmans drink in 9 weeks? So they gave me the first ratio. In they drink 3 gallons every 2 weeks. So 3 gallons to 2 weeks. How many gallons, that's my question, will they drink in 9 weeks? So when I set this up, I have 3 times 9, which is 27, equals 2 times x, which is 2x, divide by 2, and you get x equals 13.5 gallons. Yeah? Alright, this one says rewrite each ratio in 2 ways. Well, this one is the fraction, so I can write it as 5 in words, and I can write it with the colon. This one gives me the colon, so I can write that as 3 to 13 and as a fraction. This one, they gave me words. I can write it with a colon, or I can write it as a fraction. This is like the first one. They gave me a fraction. I can write it in words, or I can write it as a colon. Okay. Solving the proportion. Alright, I got 2 times 9, which is 18, equals 3 times x, which is 3x. Divide by 3, and x equals 6. Yeah? Number 6, you're going to have x times 25, which is 25x, equals 5 times 3 is 15. To solve for x, I'm going to divide by 25, and I get 0.6. But if they want their answer as a fraction, math enter it, and you would get 3/5. You can either say x equals 0.6, or you can say x equals 3/5. Okay, on 7, you have 4 times 13, which is 52, equals x times 10, which is 10x. Divide by 10, and you get x equals 5.2. Number 8, 3 times 49, can't do that in my head, is 147, equals 7 times x is 7x. Divide by 7, and x equals 21. Okay, number 9, you're going to have 4 times x, which is 4x, equals 8 times 7, which is 56. Divide by 4, and you get 14. Cross multiply, 1 times 100 is 100, equals 5 times x is 5x. Divide by 5, and did I write it up there? Sorry. 1 times 100 is 100, equals 5x. Divide by 5, and x equals 20. Again, 5 times 121 is going to be 605, equals 11 times x is 11x. Divide by 11, and you get 55. 12 times 27.5 is 330, equals x times 66 is 66x. Divide by 66, and you get 5. Alright, solving another proportion. 5 over 13 equals 20 over x. Cross multiply, that's going to be, I'm trying to find Yeah, and that's going to be 5x equals 13 times 20 is 260. So divide by 5, and I get 52. Show 4/9 written as a ratio in two other ways. Well, this is the fraction one, so we can use the colon one, or we can use the word one. 15. If it costs David $25 to fill up his tank of gas twice, how much will it cost David to fill up his tank of gas 20 times? Well, I'm going to set it up. It's going to take him 25. Oh, I did the. Sorry. It's going to cost $25 to fill up his gas tank twice. How much will it cost to fill it up 20 times? So that's going to give me, sorry, I'm trying to figure out where the animation is going to come in. That's going to give me 25 times 20, which is 500, equals 2x, divide by 2, and x equals 250. Number 16. Samantha has 2 cats, Cal and Hob. For every scoop of food that Hob eats, Cal eats 3. If Hob eats 10 scoops, how many will Cal eat? We're going to set up our proportion. For every 1 that Hob eats, Cal eats 3. Then they tell me Cal eats 3. Then they tell me Hob eats 10, so now Hob has 10, and they want to know what will that do to Cal. So if I cross multiply, I get 1 times x is x equals 3 times 10 is 30. I get 30. Divided by 1, but still get 30. Okay, 17. You can get 12 eggs for every carton you buy. How many eggs will you get if you buy 7 cartons? If we set up the proportion, there's 12 eggs in 1 carton. If you have, so I put eggs over cartons, which means this side has to be eggs over cartons. And they got to give me 1 of them, and they gave me number of cartons was 7. So this, my eggs is what they're asking for. So cross multiply, I get 12 times 7, which is 84, equals 1 times x is 1x. Again, this is kind of senseless, but your answer is 84. A roofer estimates that 15 tiles are needed to cover 4 square feet. How many tiles will be needed to cover 120 square feet of the same roof? Well, we set up the proportion. It gives me the first ratio. 15 tiles covers 4 square feet. Tiles, square feet. So this side has to be tiles over square feet. And they got to give me 1 of them. And they gave me the square footage it covers. So I put 120 on the bottom. Cross multiply. I got 15 times 120, which is 1800, equals 4 times x is 4x. So to solve for x, I divide by 4. And I get 450. 19, a flagpole that stands 25 feet high, casts a shadow of 40 feet. That's going to be my first ratio. Shadow the height of the object and the shadow of it. Someone standing right next to the flagpole is 6 feet tall. How long is the person's shadow? So we set up the proportion. They gave me a 25-foot pole and 40-foot shadow. So the height of the object is on top and shadow of the object is on bottom. And they got to give me 1. And they gave me the height of the person was 6. So the shadow is what I'm looking for. Cross multiply, you get 25x equals 240. Divide by 25, and you get 9.6. Yeah? 20. Jack went to the grocery store and bought 8 apples for $2. How many apples could Jack have bought if he had $5? Well, they're giving me a price and a quantity. So for 8 apples, the money is $2. If I had $5, so bucks goes on bottom, how many apples? So that's my question. Cross multiplying, 8 times 5 is 40, equals 2 times x is 2x, divide by 2, and I get x equals 20. Okay? Alright, you try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Hopefully you got 30 tomatoes. It says John is making tacos for himself and 17 friends. For every 3 people, John uses 5 tomatoes. How many tomatoes will John use in all? If I set up a proportion, the first information they gave me is for 3 people, he needs 5 tomatoes. So what if he doesn't have 3 people? What if he has himself and 17 friends? Well, that would make 18 people, and I don't know how many apples then it will take. So cross multiplying, 3 times x is 3x equals 5 times 18, which is 90. Divide by 3, and I get x equals 30. Yeah? Okay, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 360. All right, it says some say that a person should drink 8 glasses of water a day. If each of 45 people follows this advice, how much water will they drink? Well, for one person, they need 8 glasses. So if I had 45 people, how many glasses would that be? Well, cross multiplying, 1 times x is 1x equals 8 times 45, which is 360. I mean, you can divide by 1 or not, but it's going to be 360. Okay, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. All right, 1 and 3 says, given the ratio 5/6, 5:6, 6:5, 5:6, which of the following choices is the complete list of the way to properly rewrite the ratio? You can do a fraction, you can do words, and you can do colon. Those are the only 3 ways. And you don't ever switch the numbers up. It's always numerator to denominator, not denominator to numerator. So it's only 1 and 3. Oops, backwards. Wait, did I skip one? Yes, I did. Okay, sorry, my bad. All right, you try this one. Kind of silly of me to leave the answer up there. Sorry. All right, again, sorry about that. When you set it up, it says Jeff went to a bookstore where 6 books cost $13. So you're doing books over money. They got to give you, so the second fraction is also books over money, and they got to give you one of them. And they're asking you how many books, so that's my x, could Jeff buy at that rate for $32.50. So they're changing the money to $32.50. Cross multiply, I got 6 times $32.50, which is $195, equals 13 times x is 13x. Divide by 13, and you get x equals 15. Sorry about ruining your answer there. Okay, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got B. It says a trainer uses 0.75 roll of medical tape on each soccer player. If there are 15 players on the team and 80% get taped up, how many rolls of tape does the trainer need? Well, he needs to tape up 80% of his 15 players. So the first thing I'm going to do is take 0.80 times 15, and that gives me 12. So for every 12 players, each of the 12 players uses 0.75 of the roll, which makes 9 rolls. Okay? And we are done with ratio and proportion, and I will see you again tomorrow.